Hey guys, October the 1st, 2022, this weekend, and you know what that means. It means every mom and dad wants to get out there with their kids and get family portraits done. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you the best flash modifiers available 2022, the ones that I have used for years, tried, tested, and true. They won't break the bank. They'll fit in your camera bag. They'll cover the high-speed sync situation, and if you need more power to overpower the sun, I'll give you a couple options for that as well. So let's jump in and we'll take a look. So if you're looking for the best modifier, 2022, best flash modifier, here it is right here. This is a Gary Fong 5th gen Lightsphere. This is the original Lightsphere circa 2005. When I started out with my D200s, this thing's bulletproof. And the big difference between this is that it doesn't collapse down. Although I did take this the dome out and fold it up like this and shove it in my bag, and I found that worked for me quite well. This thing has yellowed a little bit over time, but absolutely phenomenal modifier. And then the 5th gen is just so much better because this thing you can pop out, and you can pop out the dome and you can collapse this thing right down to something the size of a biscuit, fits in your camera bag, and away you go. And to be honest with you, if I'm just doing a quick photo shoot at the park, you know, with one person, I just leave this on my Speedlight, put it in my camera bag, and away we go. And before I go any further, just in case I didn't mention, this is not a paid video. All of this stuff is bought and paid for with my own money. And so my opinions are my own. I'm not a Gary Fong fanboy, although it might appear as if I am. But I just like the guy's products. He's a professional wedding photographer and inventor, blah, 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 blah. But his products just work. And so that's why I used them. So the 5th gen Lightsphere, you know, grab yourself one of these. They're 60 or 70 bucks from Adorama, eBay, or Amazon. You can get them in a number of places, and watch out for fakes because there's a few fakes out there now on Amazon, and I think Gary's done some work to try and eradicate that. But yeah, so there you go. Now, another thing that if you have a pop-up flash on your camera and you just want, this is another cool little device from Gary Fong. It's called a puffer, and it just sits on the hot shoe of your camera like this if you got a pop-up flash, and, you know, it diffuses the light a little bit. And I found that worked, you know, kind of cool years ago when I was using different cameras. I don't use it much. Well, I don't use it at all anymore, but I thought I would mention it to you. And then another Gary Fong product, if you're looking for something to take dramatic portraits, he has a portrait kit where you get 2 of these and a bunch of gels. So these are the gels that come in the portrait kit. There's also a grid that comes with it, and this kit does a phenomenal job of focusing the light on your subject so you can get some really dramatic portraits, even out in bright sunlight as well. So we'll just shove that in there. Now, the next thing that I would steer you towards, and it's almost mandatory these days, and I think that is the Godox S2 Bracket. And the reason is, you got to get your Speedlight off the camera if you want to get good images. And so you can have a mobile stand, move your Speedlight around. I'm talking about having somebody hold it for you and move your Speedlight around and put it like this. But if you're out there working by yourself, you're going to have to put your Speedlight on a light stand. And I don't like putting Speedlights on those little cleat brackets, and, you know, they're really flimsy, right? So Godox solved the problem. And basically what they did was, they came up with the S2 bracket. Your Speedlight goes in like so. You tighten this thing down. And now this will fit on any light stand with a 5/8 baby pin on it. Okay. And this is the way I work now. I've got 2 or 3 of these S2 brackets and a 4 of the older style. I don't like the older style brackets because I know they're a little bit less expensive, but they have a really coarse ratchet mechanism here. And so this one is a lot more smooth, and it also has the fitting here. So if you want to shove an umbrella through here, you can do that. So you get the best of all worlds with this. And if you notice, when I put this thing in here, if it's a windy day and your Speedlight does get blown over, this thing is made out of composite material. It's going to give it some protection when it hits the ground. So really can't say enough about this bracket. Just go out and get a couple of them. And that, my friends, is the start for our flash modifiers. So next up, I'm going to share with you some inexpensive options for flash modifiers. And without a doubt, the most inexpensive that I can think of is your basic umbrella. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. And this is a great option when you want to use a Speedlight and just blast light everywhere. So if you're doing full body shots or 3/4 length shots, umbrella's great. Just remember, if you take it outside, it becomes a sail and you blow over your light stand fairly easily. But this is a pretty good option, and it works with all kinds of different mountings, like this guy here. Okay, Speedlight just goes on top, light stand goes here, straight forward. Godox S bracket pops in like this. So really great option for cheap. These things are like 15 bucks. And I'll put links in the description. All this stuff is bought and paid for by myself. So this is not a paid review. It's not sponsored by anybody. But I'll put links in for you so you can get access to all this stuff. The next option that I really like, and I use it a fair amount, is made by the good folks at Neewer. So you know it's not going to be cost you an arm and a leg. So let's get this one out of the way. And this guy here is... This is a softbox umbrella, and I call it a softbox anyway because your Speedlight basically goes in the bracket, the S2 bracket like this, but your Speedlight can go right inside the modifier, and you can close the material down around it. And the reason I like this thing, because my studio is not very big, and if I turn this thing this way, the depth of it from here to here is not that high. So if I need to put it overhead, I can use this overhead in my small studio and get a really great result. And this thing will just throw light everywhere. Basically, the light just bounces off the silver reflector inside, gives you a nice soft light coverage. Great option. Now, the last option I'm going to show you is this from Phottix, and this is a 32-inch Easy Up Octobox, and I got this because I wanted a little bit better catch lights when I was doing portraits. Only problem is I'm pretty sure this thing is obsolete now. This is circa 2013, so I'll put a link here for you to a video I did on this thing back in 2013. But again, this is just an umbrella. There we go. That'll help. And so you can see it's just an umbrella. And I guess the big difference here is that your light stand comes up through here. So your Speedlight is going to be sitting, if you mounted it with the S bracket like this, and then it pushes the light this way, brings it back this way. But the reason I like this, the reason I got it, and there is a special T bracket that Phottix made available where you can mount 2 Speedlights. But if you think back to 2013, we didn't have the Godox 8200 or the 200 Pro, and now we do, so we don't necessarily. But there may be, a time where you need 2 Speedlights. So that bracket, you may still be able to find it on eBay or Amazon someplace. But this is another option, and what I like about this is that it actually comes with a grid. You can see the picture here. And so because it has a thick strip of Velcro around the outside, you can mount your diffuser, plus you can get your grid on here, and you can really focus the light on your subject. So get that down out of the way. Get this out of the way. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't show you, so I've shown you some inexpensive options for flash modifiers, but how are you going to mount them? Right, so it's, what are we now? First week of October 2022. Anybody comes to me advice, wants something to hold their Speedlight, Godox S2 Bracket. Okay, 25 bucks. You can't beat this. I've got 2 of them. I got 4 of the older ones. It's just great because your Speedlight, you can shove it in here. You can tighten it down. The things that it may not occur to you is that if this thing falls over on a light stand, this composite bracket is going to give you some protection from damaging your Speedlight, which is why I like it. And it holds the Speedlight really secure. Once this thing's locked in, it's not going anywhere. There's rubber pads on the top and the bottom. And the other thing, if you're familiar with Godox Speedlights and some of their lights, I think it's AD300 that's round. So you can see here I got a piece of chartreuse tape on here, and I do that just because camera bags tend to be black and this is easy to see, but that's also holding this plug in place. So this little half moon piece comes out here and you can fit an S3 Speedlight in here. So this, I think, is probably the most practical, the best bang for your buck. You can mount an umbrella in it. It mounts on a 5/8 stud, so it'll fit onto any light stand. This is the way to go. If you want even cheaper, then you're going to use something like this little impact bracket. It also goes onto a 5/8 stud like so. You can put your Speedlight here, you can run your umbrella through the little hole here, and away you go. And then you've got some range of motion here, so you can tip the umbrella any way that you need. Another cheap option is this setup here. And so this is a couple of parts put together. This is a really cheap bracket that fits on top here. You can tighten this up. I just modified it for this video, but I've used it like this in the past for sure. So you've got a good range of motion there. And then, see if I can get this off here. Yeah. There we go. So just a little cold shoe on here and a little 5/8 stud. And this just screws onto the top here. But this is probably my least favorite way to mount a Speedlight because, you know, to me, it's a little wobbly. It doesn't exactly inspire confidence, but I'll leave it up to you which method you choose to fit your budget. You know, that's what you're going to do. Now, I'm going to show you another homemade option, which I've showcased before in videos on my channel, and that is this guy here. This is a homemade flash bracket, and I absolutely love this style. So what it is, it's a piece of plastic cutting board that you can get from the dollar store. It's 1/4 inch plastic. I put a little piece of foam and I put some black tape on it. And all you got to do is take your Speedlight like so, bring your strap over. Okay. And it holds your Speedlight really good. And then you can take this the way I normally do it. So this, let's see, where are we here? Will fit into any kind of anything that takes a modifier, a 5/8 pin like this. You can put this on top of your light stand. This is going to hold your Speedlight a lot more secure than having it on something, you know, just on a cold shoe mount. The other thing that you can do, these are Neewer ball heads. I love these things. I think I got about 6 of them now, but they've got a nice little knurled knob. They're super lightweight, 1/4 20 threaded hole in the bottom, and you've got a cold shoe on top here. Now the cold shoe, I'm pretty sure you can take this off like so. So you can use this. You can mount this a number of different ways. Oh, I've got one here on the top, but you could, if you have a stud that has a 1/4 20, which most light stands do, you can screw this onto the top of your light stand, and then you can take one of these guys. So this has a 1/4 20 thread here. You put this on top of this, and that's another way that you can use this thing here. So I could just screw this into here. Okay, I can screw this into the top of my light stand, and now I've got a really secure modifier that I don't have to worry about falling off and is going to get damaged or broken fairly easily. So there's 2 or 3 or 4 different ways, well, 3 modifiers and a bunch of different ways that you can mount your Speedlights safely and get a really good result from them. So I promised to show you some options for working out in the sun as far as modifiers go, but to do that, I'm going to show you the flashes. So at this point in 2022, if you're looking to buy Speedlights You know, the best advice I can give you is buy good ones. Don't go out and buy cheap crap. And so, in case you haven't noticed, I bought into the Godox system big time because it's a family and it works. It's stone reliable. So this is a Godox 860 V2. There is a V3. If you can afford it, buy the V3. It's got a couple of new bells and whistles on it. But what I like about these is that the radio control is built in. They work with the X1, X2T, X1, XS. I can't even remember the name. I got so many of them now. But they have a lithium battery. They'll do your shoot from start to finish without going dead on you. Really all I do is turn the thing on at the beginning of a shoot. I check the battery level. In this case, it's, you know, they just last forever. The battery goes forever. Now on the Speedlight itself, you got a couple of modifiers. So you got this little diffuser that gives you kind of a wide angle diffusion, and then you've got a tiny little bounce card. But, you know, it's kind of a Mickey Mouse thing. It'll work in a pinch sometimes if you're indoors, but outdoors, you know, forget it. It's not really going to do very much. So modifiers, so easy peasy. The cheapest one, here's a little Neewer whale tail. And this guy here, all you do with it is take the strap, slide the Speedlight in like so, and you can bounce light off of the ceiling. You know, you can turn the head of the Speedlight. You can bounce it in whatever direction you want, and it'll give you a nice soft white light. If you want something that's a little more specular highlights, try the other side. So this is really cheap, about $10, $12, something like that, and it comes in handy. It's something that you want to keep in your bag for those emergency situations if you don't have your Gary Fong Lightsphere, for example, handy. Okay, so as far as working outdoors in the sun on an average situation, depending on how far you are from your model, I would suggest I use my Gary Fong Lightsphere, the 5th gen. And if I need more power to overpower the sun, then I'm going to go to work with my Godox AD200 Pro. And so the beauty of this thing is they're not cheap, but you get what you pay for. They're compact, they fit in your camera bag, they have lithium batteries, they last, the battery power lasts forever. It's just a great unit. And it comes with a couple of different heads. And this one is the Fresnel head. And it just pops on like so. And once this thing is on, you can get, so you can see it has the barn doors for directing the light. It also comes with a little mounting device here. So I'll just put that on and show you that. So all you need is a light stand with a 5/8 mounting point on it, and you got yourself, you can mount this thing on a light stand, easy peasy. You got barn doors here, comes with a grid, you can direct the light, and then you can get these filters, okay, or gels that fit on top of the grid, and you can take the grid out. It's completely your choice, and you can take the barn doors off. So completely up to you. Now, take this thing off. Probably the bare bulb is what I use the most, and the reason for that is that you can get these very inexpensive reflectors that fit right over like this. Okay, and a lot of times you can get some fantastic images with just a simple reflector like this. You can get grids for these, you can get color gels for them. There's a blue gel on that one, there's a clear one in here as well. They're easy to work with, and then you can get these kind of gels that fit over top of the whole schmozzle like so, and something like that. And I did this past winter, I did a whole series of photos with, I've got a blue one, a red one, an amber one, a brown, I call them rain covers, I guess. But these are a really great set of modifiers that'll cover a really wide range of portrait opportunities for you. So there you go. I mean, that should give you a really good start. So we're getting down to the short strokes. The last two modifiers that I wanted to cover are my favorite modifiers by far. And the first one is this Phottix Luna Beauty Dish. And I love this thing because these arms here just pull like this. And then it's easy to set this thing up. It collapses down. You know, it's the white interior. It's got a fairly low profile here from top to bottom. It works with the S bracket. You know, so it fits easy on, easy off your light stand, and it's just a go-to modifier for me, to be quite honest. And it comes with the white diffuser, and the diffuser, you know, just fits over the top of this thing. I've got lots of videos on my channel showcasing this modifier, but I think I like this the best because it gives me just a nice flat, you know, white color tone, and I tend to get really good results from that. So let me just put this aside. Now, if you're not partial to that modifier, you can't find it, because I think that one might be discontinued, but Godox has one, and Glow have some beauty dishes that are similar. So let me show you one. So this one I bought because I wouldn't even call it an octa. It's very almost circular, and this is the Glow 25-inch beauty dish silver. And I bought the silver one because there's two diffusers that you can get with this one. It has the beauty dish plate on the interior. You can press the button, it collapses really quick, so it's easy up, easy down. It has two diffusers, so the light that's coming out is white. It's a little bit deeper than the Phottix Luna, which I like, and it also works with the S bracket. So for me, you ever notice how these things never go on quite so easily when you're trying to show them in a video? Anyways, you get the idea. So it fits on the S bracket, but this one and the Phottix Luna, they're the two modifiers I use the most. I have one other homemade beauty dish, and I'll put a link to that in the description for you. But so I think we've covered a ton of stuff here. Lots of modifiers, you know, from low cost to medium cost to maybe a little bit more expensive, with the 8200 Pro probably being the most expensive. Speedlight, and then, you know, the modifiers and bits and pieces that come with it. But I'm trying to give you the best advice I can in 2022.